Welcome back to another edition of From the Flip Card, where I give you, the viewer, as much information as possible. Everything that you're going to need to know about this upcoming Chicago Bears Minnesota Vikings football game. I believe that the more you know about the game, the more compelling it is, the more enjoyable it is. That way you don't have to, gamble away your life savings just to make the game exciting. So here we go. But before we start, I do want to give a quick thank you to Fuller's in Hinsdale, Illinois. Had a brake line go out of my truck. It was parked in the driveway, and I back it out yesterday and looked like the Exxon Valdez had been sitting there for a month. So brought it in there. They fixed it up. So to Owen and to Caleb down there at Fuller's, thank you very much. You're getting the analyst to his job on time. Appreciate you. Hopefully the Viking fans do too. I'm not really sure about that, but we'll see. Now, where do we start with this Bears team? You got to start with the offense and what Ben Johnson has been able to do. Just take a look at these numbers, okay? 6-3, right? 9 games. These are the numbers. From a yard standpoint, third, okay? Running the ball. They're second in the league right now running the football. Passing, 11th. Interception rate, 8th best in the league, which, as we Viking fans know, is important. Sack rate, 5th best in the league. Third down, they're number 10 overall. In red zone, they're struggling, 22nd in the league in red zone. But you look at these numbers, it's like Detroit version 2.0, right? This offense, this Bears offense, is really moving the football. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, their opponent winning percentage is only .272. It's the lowest of any team over 500 in the league, so they haven't really played anybody. Well, they're starting to believe, and they've had 4 games now where they've come back within 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. So it's, as a player, you don't really sit there and go, we're pretty good, but we beat a lot of bad teams. No, all you know is that you're 6-3 and you have an opportunity, because the last time this Bears team was 6-3 was 2018, and they ended up winning the division. So let's break this offense down a little bit. Offensive line, kind of a surprise. Left tackle Theo Benedett, he's doing well. Earlier on, you thought it was Ozzie Trapillo that was going to be part of it. He's brought in as the extra offensive lineman. I think there's some opportunities there, but we'll get to that in a minute. Joe Tooney, left guard, they brought him in from Kansas City, doing a great job. He's maybe a little bit light. He and Drew Dahlman. Jonah Jackson, who's playing very, very well at right guard. So the interior of this offensive line is great. Darnell Wright, he's kind of like the Chicago version of Penei Sewell. If he tees off and gets you, you're going to go backwards. He's a big, strong guy, but he has a tendency to swing and miss. And then now the tight end duo of Cole Kmet and the rookie Colston Loveland from Michigan. Colston, 21 receptions, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's having a great year. And then the wide receiving core, Roma Dunze, he's leading the team in receptions, 37 receptions, 559 yards. Caleb likes to get the football to him. There was some heat on Caleb for trying to force the ball to him, but Roma Dunze, big target, catches everything, across the middle, anywhere you want to go. And then he's bookended by DJ Moore, who is he's a big play guy, strong. They like to throw the ball deep to him. They also do all the reverses and all the trick plays, and everything else is gonna involve him. Very tough to tackle at times. And then there's Olamide Zacchaeus, who's really usually the number 3, and then Luther Burden gets sprinkled in there. This wide receiver group, had 8 drops last week, 6 drops. It's either 6 or 8, depends on who's counting, and it's always an even number. But they didn't help their quarterback out last week, Caleb Williams, who right now, after 9 games, has thrown for 2,136 yards. That is the 5th most in Bears franchise history. The Bears haven't had a 4,000-yard passer. Keep that in mind. Yards per attempt, he's at 7.3. That's 1 yard longer than a year ago. 13 touchdowns throwing, 3 rushing, so a total of 16. Only 4 interceptions. That's the huge thing, right? 4 interceptions. Caleb protected the ball great last year. He's doing the same. Sacked only 14 times. This guy got sacked 68 times last year. 68. And now the Bears are only, after 9 games, at 14. It's tied for the 4th lowest in the NFL. So they're figuring that out. How are they doing that? Well, some of it is the offensive line, but what's making the biggest difference is the 147.3 yards per game rushing on base downs. This Bears offense will run the ball, and they'll run it until you stop it. But the passing game, therefore, on first and second down is all based off of play action, bootleg, all those kinds of things. It helps with pass protection. That's how they've brought this sack total down. You line up Caleb in an empty set on 3rd down and long, he's going to get pressured. We saw it last week against the New York Giants. They got to him. They just had a hard time bringing him down because the guy's kind of like Houdini. But the running the ball on first and second is dovetailing into the great protection, pass protection that is, on first and second down. Makes it very hard for a defense when you don't know if it's going to be pass or run. You have to honor the run game. It's that good. So it's that's been the secret. That's Ben Johnson, right? That's what he does, and he's brought it here, and he's got these guys believing, right? 4 games where they've come back with inside of 2 minutes in the 4th quarter. I mean, it's incredible. Caleb Williams, 4 games with 250 plus yards of passing. That is, he only had 5 the entire year last year, so he's already at 4. So the kid is progressing, right? No matter what the Bears fans want to say, this guy's getting better week after week after week. So stopping him is going to be tough. Now, I think the biggest part of this game is the fact that Jonathan Gennard won't play. Jonathan Gennard is the best defender the Vikings have. I believe that. He's one of, if not the best run defenders, he and Jalen Redmond on this team. Not having him in there is going to be a problem on first and second down because of stopping the run. And then he's one of the few guys who has the athleticism, I think, to keep up with Caleb Williams. So for Dallas Turner, who's been playing more the last few weeks, and he's shown up. He had a nice sack last week. He got penalized for it, unfortunately. Pass broken up. Dallas Turner is going to need to have the best game of his career. Okay, he's been around for about 1.5 years now. He needs to take it to the next level. The Vikings blitzing at a 45.4% of opponent dropbacks. That's second most in the NFL. We also have the 4th highest QB pressure rate. And remember with Flores, he wants a high QB pressure rate and will blitz enough to get there. So I would think in this game he's going to be blitzing a little bit more than normal. So guys like Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, keep an eye on them because they're athletic enough, I think, to keep up with Caleb. I'm not saying I can bring him down because the guy's good. But yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more blitzing and those things out of the backfield to keep that pressure rate up. And against this offensive line and how much they run the football, that's going to be tough. So Bears 170 plus rushing yards in 3 of the last 4 games. They had 0 weeks 1 through 6. So the running game is resurgent. They averaged 183.4 rushing yards per game since week 6. So the last 3 weeks, that is the most in the NFL. No one right now is running the football more than the Chicago Bears, which for us to remember the Chargers game, it's going to make, they got our work cut out for us. We'll see how that all lands. You're going to get some called QB runs. Caleb Williams has 246 yards rushing. So you're going to get some called QB runs maybe once a quarter. If Caleb Williams sees press coverage, he's going to run a stop fade. Very good at that. The Vikings don't do that much. And we talked about the red zone struggles. I think about the Baltimore game where the Bears are able to move the football down and get into the red zone, and then they get pass happy and don't quite get the ball. I don't know why you would run the ball between the 20s and then start throwing it in the red zone, but it's kind of what they do. So their red zone offense has sputtered a little bit. They're averaging 26.6 points per game, 7th in the NFL. A Bears offense averaging almost 27 points per game. Pretty amazing. One last bit with what I was talking about with the blitz, and I do think we're going to get a ton of them. Caleb Williams versus the blitz in this year in 2025, completion percentage just below 60%. I think that's the one thing Overall, Caleb's at 60.8. I know he had a lot of drops last week, but I think getting that number up into the high 60s that's Ben Johnson football. I think that's the last hurdle for Caleb to get to. Whether or not he can, we'll see. But I think that's the next level for Caleb Williams. But against the blitz, 59% completion percentage, 793 yards per attempt at 9. So he's not throwing checkdowns when he sees blitzes, right? 9. So he's getting the football down the field. TD to interception, 8-0. 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a passer rating of 119.2. His passer rating is 92. So he's throwing a 119.2 versus the blitz. You're going to have to think twice about blitzing him. I don't know. A lot of this is him scrambling, making it up, and doing some certain things. But a year ago, his passer rating against the blitz was only 85.3. He had 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, yards per attempt, 6.6. So all of these numbers in handling the blitz have improved. I think that all dovetails into the running game and what that provides a young quarterback. And the guy has had 4 game-winning drives this season, inside of 2 minutes, by the way. 4 game-winning drives this year, and that's tied for most in a season in Bears history. 4 game-winning drives. That puts him on the Mount Rushmore of comeback kids for Chicago quarterbacks. Now, when the Vikings have the football, we're going to talk a little bit here about, first of all, J.J. McCarthy. Got to get the completion percentage up. He's at 53.7. What's amazing is how well McCarthy does early on in a game, okay? In the first 2 drives of a football game, every one of the games that McCarthy's been part of, he's got a 154.2 rating with an 11.6 yards per attempt on the first 2 drives of each game in 2020 and this year. Both are number 1 in the NFL. So there's not a better quarterback on the first 2 drives in the NFL right now. That is when plays are scripted. Those are the plays that you practice all throughout the week. So for a young quarterback, for him to be able to just do that out of the gate, I think that's a huge thing. After the first 2 drives, however, his completion rate drops to 50.5%, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 52.1 passer rating. So it's the transition. So after the first 2 drives, it's that transition to when you start making adjustments to the defense. How are they looking? What are they doing? What are we going to do in response? Those things are that process needs to be smoothed out. And I think it reflected last week with the 8 false start penalties. We didn't have one in the first quarter. They were all in the second, third, and fourth quarter. That is exactly what this stat and what they're talking about here. Out of the gate, McCarthy's doing well, just has to sustain. As he plays more, he will. But we need it now. One stat about this Bears defense, okay, which has been struggling. Okay, you take a look at them. They're 27th in yards, 24th against the run, 26th against the pass. They're doing well in third down. They're 6th in the league in third down. Fourth down, they're 7th in the league, 12th in the red zone. So they're allowing 6.3 yards per play. All right, that's a lot. And giving up 27.4 points per game, which is 28th. So they're giving up a lot. Okay. They've only forced 23 punts. That's the fewest in the NFL. They're allowing 7.8 yards per pass attempt. That's 31st in the league. And they've allowed 36 completions of 20 or more yards, tied for last in the league with Washington. So what's going on with them? Well, they kind of suffer from what the Baltimore Ravens were suffering from, is that they just can't get to the quarterback, okay, with a 4-man rush. They have to blitz. And Dennis Allen, it's amazing when you see the quarterback get a couple throws in and get in a little bit of a rhythm. Dennis Allen gets pissed off and then he starts blitzing. And he will blitz 3 plays in a row. I think the guy that's really benefited from that is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who last week had a sack and then also had a forced fumble on the Jackson Dart scramble where he got hurt. So Gardner-Johnson's been a bigger part. They'll also bring in Elijah Hicks at dime. He'll blitz off the edge, but they need to pressure. And don't forget Tremaine Edmonds and Noah Sewell. But to get after the quarterback, they've got to pressure. That puts Tyreek Stevenson and Nashawn Wright one-on-ones. Nashawn Wright had a nice PBU and man-to-man, had a easy pick drop. So Nashawn Wright's been in the right place at the right time in the last couple of weeks. Just has to, I think convert it. Jaquan Brisker, we know about him. He's in the paint a lot more. Kevin Byard is the free safety. And after seeing JJ in safeties over the last couple of weeks, keep an eye on him. 33 interceptions since he entered the league in 2016. That's number 1 in the NFL. So Kevin Byard is a guy that you got to keep an eye on. Now, the Bears have allowed Jalen Johnson, who's been injured since week 2 against Detroit, didn't play against us on the opening day. He had surgery. His window is open now. Don't think he's in the physical condition to play. So maybe they'll activate him. Maybe they'll play him a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. The defensive line, Andrew Billings, I think, is their best defensive lineman. He's good. He's stout. He's not quite a 4-3 type of a defensive lineman, but he can cause some problems. Javon Dexter, he wears down. He can be moved, but he's got some juice. In the pass rush game, he has 4 sacks this year, only behind Montez Sweat, who has 5.5. And when Montez Sweat is engaged, he is very good. So Chris Williams, they moved him from 3 technique. He's out there at defensive end. Austin Booker is the other defensive end. I think the Vikings can run there off tackle with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, by the way, who is averaging 5.2 yards per carry, which is 9th among running backs in the entire NFL with 30 or more carries. So Aaron Jones, I think, can be the key to this offense for the Minnesota Vikings and just possession, running the football. Okay, don't get pass happy. Let Aaron Jones do what he does. If you need a couple short yards, give it to Jordan Mason. This defense has a hard time getting off the field on downs. Now, interception-wise, they're unbelievable. 20 turnovers. 20 turnovers caused. 13 interceptions, 7 fumble recoveries, 20 takes. That's an unbelievable number. They lead the NFL by 6 in the take give. They're plus 14. They lead the NFL by 6. So this defense is great at giving their offense added possessions. We've been giving the football away. 6 interceptions by J.J. McCarthy alone. We're minus 7 overall. So that's another big part of all of this, a big point to all of this. And that, my friends, is about it. So defensively, for the Vikings offense, keep moving the chains, stay on the field, keep that defense out there. It keeps the Bears offense, I can't believe I'm saying this, but keeps the Bears offense off the field because they're getting some, making some pretty lofty numbers. So that's going to be key. Obviously, the Vikings can't be turning the ball over. You've got to eliminate you can't make it any easier on this Bears defense. Make them earn the punt. They've forced the least number of punts in the entire NFL. So make them earn that, okay? And win this time of possession game. Wear this defense down a little bit because when the Bears offense is on, they're going to try to do the same thing. Ben Johnson's just going to hand that thing off until you stop him and then play action you deep down the field. So whoever wins that aspect of the game, I think time of possession is going to be extremely important. I did a video breakdown of the Chicago Bears. I'm going to leave a link to it up here somewhere. Feel free to watch that. It just digs into how well Caleb Williams is playing right now, the things that he can do, how remarkable of an athlete that he is, and some of just how this Ben Johnson offense wants to operate. So that's about it. Enjoy the game. It's going to be a good one. Vikings need this to get back to 500, stay undefeated in the division. You can build off of that. For the Bears, they want to see if they're real after a 6-3 start. They really want to see if they're real and what this means. So they're going to be confident. They're going to be flying around. And for a noon kickoff in November, it's going to be a great game. So good luck. Skol Vikings.